It's June the 4th, but still time for one of those collection update videos. Been rocking the Bubble Burst from Euclid Studios a good bit. Excellent alternative to the Puffer Crash, which is just, it's too expensive for what it is. If anyone could get these at the retail price, I would obviously recommend the full metal over this, but honestly, the lighter weight of these makes them more EDCable, a little more balanced in hand, and on a very small scale, gives more haptic feedback than the heavier metal body. It's not much because there's not much anyways. It's more sound than it is feedback, but you do get more out of this. And it's not like it's any louder. Maybe just marginally, but under the table. Can you even tell which one's clicking? One, the other. Exactly. They're it's the good Fidget. I really recommend them. I can't wait for them to come out with more variations. Yeah, I've been EDCing this one entirely. I don't even leave it in my case. It lives in my EDC fanny pack. So I mean, I've got this with me all the time. This is the glow one. I mean, these are both glow. Oh, and turns out we found the other blue one. It was in the laundry. One of the pieces came a little bit, or it came off. So I just glued it back in. I'm not sure if that's how they're originally put in. I forgot to tell Vic that. I need to. But yeah. These are so good. That's enough. I would recommend them. They're $45. Euclid Studios on Facebook. So let's give some updates on the newer things that I've got in my collection here. So the Flare Aura Sand, dang, I really don't even know the name of this thing, so I feel kind of bad about that, but I couldn't read any of the packaging. So it's gotten broken in. It's interesting. Oh, and I've changed it to a 2-click setup. So it's got the big magnets in the corners, and then I double stacked the smaller skinny magnets on each side. So there's 4 in each plate in the middle portion, stacked. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So it basically makes it where it feels like all strong magnets from what I could do, because the big magnets don't fit in the middle portion, which is kind of funky. I did learn from, I think, Kyle's video whenever he tried out Melanie's, that how they do come is with one side set up with 3-click and the other side set up with 2-click, and it gives it this glidey feel. And no wonder I didn't like it when I got it out of the box, because I didn't even know that's what it was doing, or how it was supposed to be, but it was, and I was like, what the heck? So, I mean, admittedly, I've picked this up a lot over the past, weekend, I guess, because it's quiet. There's certain situations where I don't want to be making noise. Like my wife and her sister are here. My wife and sister, if they're reading, I don't want to make a lot of fidget noise. So this one is, it can be really quiet. So I mean, that's pretty cool. I still will pick up the Wrapped because, I mean, I can do it pretty quiet too, but it still does make slightly more noise than this thing, because I mean, one plate is Teflon. But okay, I gotta say something that I've noticed, and I don't know if I just missed this in the unboxing video. Check this out. I gotta line up on the screen here. What's going on here? I don't know if it's the stainless plate or if it's the Teflon plate, but I feel like it's kind of broken in. Not anything this way, but there is definitely a gap in the middle here. So yeah, actually, let's do this. This is a pretty good straight edge here. I'm curious. I've been thinking about this again all weekend. Okay, so it's screw holes there. This is the stainless plate. I assume this bar is... That's gonna be hard to tell because of the ridges, huh? Okay, well, you see what I'm talking about. there's definitely some concavity going on between these two surfaces when they're together. And I mean, no wonder it fidgets so damn good, because that's what the wrap does. I mean, this thing's super lightweight. Opening it up is not fun. Even whenever I change this to a 2-click off video, I have a shit ton of the little O-rings. Let me get them back out. The little O-rings that it came with. Now you see this little, oh my gosh, see the little kit? I had to shove a bunch of them and these little plastic spacers like all on top of the magnets to keep it quiet. And then even still, sometimes it clicks. And there's not a lot of room in there to compress stuff, because this plastic resin plate or whatever is what pulls on top of the magnets and holds them in place. So like, I don't want to crank on it and really compress these O-rings, because let me make sure it's just not like loose, you know. If I have to really compress the O-rings anymore, okay, that tightened a little bit. I'm worried that I'm gonna strip out this little like acrylic insert thing. That actually might have got it. Interesting. Okay. Maybe it just loosened up on me from playing with it for a few days. I will say the Teflon plate, I bet I'm going to wear it out at some point. It's gonna, I mean, I guess that's why it came with another one, but like, I've had it for, I don't know, like 5 days or something. I don't remember when I posted that video. And it's, I mean, it's showing signs of wear for sure. Like, yeah, I fidget a lot. I keep my hands clean, but I don't know. At the price point, you can get one of these, which is, I mean, I can't see why you would choose, yeah, you know what I mean? The wrapped light is a way better feeling fidget. Like, okay, it can't be totally silent like this thing. I guess that's the biggest win for this, is it is silent. It's a metal on Teflon sliding surface, and that's, you know, it's, I would say that's like the second best like type of slider to have over a wrapped. Like, I'm gonna say anything else, like brass plates are gummy, bronze plates are gummy, flat stainless plates can be gummy, full Teflon doesn't have the best feel ever, zircon zirc, no thanks. So that really leaves you with, like, zircon Teflon from Magnus, I'll actually say is the best way I've ever enjoyed a Magnus slider. I actually missed my OG rail that was set up that way. I tried to track it back down from Mark Chang and Jacob Yoon, and I couldn't really get an answer on where it ended up, but that would be a cool fidget to add back to my collection, just because zircon Teflon, you know, like it just works. So, I mean, that's all I'm gonna say about this thing. Everything else I'd say is subpar to the wrapped light as far as fidgetability, ergonomics. Maybe not ergonomics, you know, this thing is a little more sculpted on the edges, but when I said ergonomics, I meant to say modularity, like opening it up and changing the setup and keeping your pieces organized. You know, this has your magnets and your insert and your screw, and it makes a nice sandwich with the dampener. This thing has, okay, let's see, there's 6, so I have 8 magnets in each side, so that means on the 6 slots, there's also 6 aluminum pieces that hold things in place, so we're at 8 plus 6 at 14, plus another 6 O-rings, 20 pieces, plus another 2 plastic washers, so 22. And then I think I have 2 more O-rings, so I think there's 24 pieces from this kit in each side of this plate. 24 pieces, guys. If you saw my video, you'll see what I'm talking about. I just don't, it's very complicated to take apart and change. I do not want to do it again. I don't even want to open it to chance it like rattling anymore. Like the wrapped here. Oh, let's do this. I don't think I've ever taken this apart on camera. And I put this together at Jonas's on May 15th. It's now June 4th. So let's see what it does taking it apart and how things look in here. These are the foam dampeners. You can see the pin here. There's a screw. Looks like the foam dampener is staying stuck to the magnets, which is, I mean, that's fine, I guess. Like, whatever. Just a little bit of stiction. I'm gonna put this back here. This is how we were assembling them at the shop there. And then you have your insert, which sits in place right there, and your magnets. I'm not gonna take those off because it's messing with a magnet stack. I don't have a good metal surface here. I mean, I guess I have the other plate, but everything's all nice and pretty. You can see the other magnet hole there. I mean, this is it. It's great. It's super simple. This back on. Line it up. There we go. This screw can take a good bit of force. Torque down on it pretty good. Let's check this one. I haven't checked these since, well, May 15th. As tight as I would get it. Sweet. This thing has broke in beautifully. I'll give these plates a wipe on my shirt real quick. I haven't wiped them in, it's been a minute. Nice and polished on the edges. You know, there is a quality to this new stainless steel, or new sheet metal stamped plate rather than the machined one, like this one here. It just has this like super fluid, glassy, super slick feel, and it's still locked in. So the actual slide surface, I bet there are people that would like this plate more than this plate. Especially whenever this plate is new and it still has the ridges on it. It feels very different from this. This one feels like 75% of the smoothness of this. You know, once you like do a move that crosses the ridges, you can feel them a little bit, but not really. Just has a slightly different feel than one that has all the ridges. So I guess we're talking about free-floating sliders. I've actually got quite a number of them right now. Usually don't. Let's throw these out in the mix too. These live in my desk. A couple Burks here. This is a stainless steel Sphera V1.1 wrapped. It's got a hybrid magnet set up. Whoa, that's not something I do very often with this thing. Some custom 3D printed inserts in it. It's just awesome. It's got ceramic balls that are free floating in it. Maybe I don't need to trade this thing. I actually been talking with somebody about trading this for a tungsten tiller. Not an even trade. I would be taking a little bit of cash on my end too, but I don't know. It's really good. Okay, so we got wraps and free floating sliders and bubble bursts. Let's flip this guy. Keep all these nice and separated. No one wants your sliders to bang together. Here's a little micro 2-click vert. My wife plays with this sometimes, but it just ended up sitting around for a little bit. She likes her a couple of her other fidgets more than this, so it lives in my desk with my copper infused vert. Plates definitely, I don't know what's changed from whenever I first got this thing, but like the plates are they stick way more than they used to. So it's not super buttery anymore. Let's see, this thing hasn't been slid in a minute. Holy, those plates were stuck together. It's weird how the resin can do that, but then once it's freed up, it it gets smooth again. Yeah, 3D printed sliders, they're not my thing. Put those back in the desk drawer. Okay, so we're talking about fidgets. We're not really doing sliders right now. We just did some magnets, so let's get to some mechanical things. Don't have a whole lot of this stuff anymore. I've still got the copper and titanium Metal Toys DZ Top Bs. You can see I haven't been playing with it much. Look at the patina on this thing. It is dark. Looking beautiful. I kind of wish I could get the blacks out of the deep areas so it could be patinaing, you know, orange and brown like everywhere else, but the black is how it came, and it's honestly been quite hard to get out. These both have Ultim center blocks in them. This one has a stainless click plate. This one has a stainless zipper plate. ZZ. I think they both have tungsten carbide balls, and they have the golden colored piano wire springs that give the most ping I've ever been able to get out of a Top B. I haven't been enjoying the titanium very much, to be honest. I have had the thought to sell it a couple times, but I don't think I ever will, just because it's my birthday number, and I mean, it's still unique. Maybe I'm just not in the mood for it right now. I've been in the mood for, well, I guess for mechanical things. I've picked up the Top C, my zirconium one, more than either of my Top Bs in recent, well, I guess over the last month probably. This thing was still pretty high up there for me last month, but it's slowly been falling to the wayside for how much I carry it. But I gotta say, right now I'm actually really enjoying it, so maybe it's gonna bump back up. Like, I'm probably gonna throw this in my bag after the video and make this part of my EDC. Didn't mean to put that back in my case. Put this over here. So yeah, if I'm reaching for a track slider, I've actually been reaching for this Zerk S Nano V2 over those. But current mood, this is too much. This is loud and jumpy and very abrupt. I just like this simple, yeah, this is just low effort, low energy fidget. Low energy, low effort, true fidgets right here, for sure. This is high energy, higher effort, still a fidget. Fidgets, but also skill toys. So the Top C in zirconium, it's an excellent haptic coin. You might not know, or you might notice that I do not have a single magnetic haptic coin in my collection. Tried out quite a few of them, and they don't really do it for me anymore. And they're very loud. And the ones that aren't loud don't have enough haptic feedback, so I just don't really like them. So the Top C is what, well, took the place of all the magnetic haptics for me. I had a bunch of these at one point. This one is definitely my favorite because of the grip, the tolerances between the top and the bottom plate, and it also just gives a really good sound and haptic because it's zirconium. So it just checks all the right boxes. The only thing I would like better maybe is a tungsten one. I don't know if they're ever going to release it. I hope it's not as ugly as the new ones that just came out. That new release that they just did, the whole redesign, I don't like it at all. It's very, very ugly. Like, it might have some more grip than some of the past models, but it's an ugly fidget. It looks like something 01 EDC would make too. It does not look like Metal Toys like designed it. So yeah, the S Nano, it's super loud and takes higher energy, more force to use. It's very smooth and has a great feel, but yeah, track sliders they're just okay, and this is among the best of any of them I've ever tried. Sorry, took a sip here. Thirsty. So that leaves, that's just spinners left. Cool. Let's do something like this right here. Get a little organized. Something. I like it. Okay. Let's do bar spinners. We're gonna start out with the one I use the most. a tungsten mame light. So I always called it an edamame, but it really is an edamame light. And I learned recently that the difference in weight was somewhere around 20 to maybe 25 grams. And that really does make it pretty much a different spinner. So I guess I've never spun a true tungsten edamame, you know? I'm very fortunate to have this because I think there's only like 4 of them. This is number 2. It's very fast. It's got a 1-drop bearing in it. Some crystallized Zircuti buttons that I made for them, specifically for this thing, and I basically haven't taken them off since. They're just so dang comfy and they make really good noises, even with a quiet 1-drop bearing, you know? Yeah, I love it so much. I use it a lot. And I consistently giggle on the first spin. Can even be an hour between the last spin. And I'll giggle a little bit whenever my hand has gained back the strength, you know, because I get fatigued playing with this thing because I spin it so much. You just see me sitting here. I mean, I'm just talking to y'all and I can already start to feel it. I've done how many start stops? If you've counted, comment, let me know. And it can get tiring, you know? So once I give it a break, come back to it in like an hour or something after my hand has recovered, give it another full force rip, and I'm just like, man, this thing is sick. Freaking love it. On to another bar. OG torque bar. My custom is on my mind so much that I spin this and send Scott all the good vibes to get moving on that thing. I know he kind of works at whatever pace he kind of says. There is no ETA really. I just got a next, so it is what it is, but I really do like the torque bar. It is an excellent spinner. Like, this one's just stainless steel with Zerk buttons, and it's still one of my most used pieces. This was a gift from a community member, like when I was really early into collecting, so I mean, it's a really good one. It's got a really well broken in go fast bearing. It could be an old HC3, I'm honestly not sure. It's just that tin ball ceramic with a crown style cage. Once it got broke in, it got even faster and got even more hang. This bearing actually had a little bit of grit when I first put it in here. You could hear it when it's spinning, but after some use and some cleaning, we are golden. Like it a lot. If you don't have a torque bar in your collection, standard size at that, I mean, I think everyone should have one. It is the OG spinner. It's almost like showing respect to your collection. It's like, this is where you came from. Next most favorite, maybe even more of a favorite, I just haven't used it as much. It's still got the same theme going on in my case over here of how much I pick up and use said bar spinners, because I have more of them, so they take up the whole center of the box over here. So I use this one probably third most. This is my copper fuse from Spin Designs by Cami. It's got a sick patina on it. Always happens this time of year when it's more humid here in Georgia. It's kind of gross. I think I've had this thing coming up on a year now. It was this time last year when I fell in love with the Flux and Fuse. I was playing with George Sherwoods. He's actually on his way to my house right now from Virginia, but I fell in love with his copper blue tongue fuse. I mean, what a heck of an awesome spinner. He's got like the most OG flux that exists. I might have said fuse a second ago, sorry. Flux. Copper blue tongue flux. This thing needs a bearing change. I've been thinking it's got like rattles a little bit with this 1-drop bearing, and I don't like that. And it's literally just the bearing itself. It's not the spinner. There isn't anything on the spinner to rattle. It's got to be something on the bearing. So that's going to get changed out. I'm actually going to leave that up here, and I will talk about, I guess, this flux instead. The copper is, I mean, amazing. It's one of my favorite spinner designs ever. Holy, why can I not keep these still? Finger feels twitchy. Okay, so this is a flux from Spin Designs by Cami. This came before the fuse. That's kind of like a solid body flux. So the weights can screw on and off. Let's do that just to show. Yep. Her like dream was for people to make custom weights, and customize their spinners. I just haven't got down to that yet. It's kind of complicated to make two pieces the way that I want them to look, to be identical in shape and weight. So I haven't wanted to conquer that challenge yet. I did make both of these buttons. They're tungsten buttons for this thing. Freaking, and it just makes it awesome. Tungsten balls, tungsten buttons, titanium body, and it's got a 1-drop bearing in it. I wish I would have never taken out the FC Essentials HC3 that came in this thing originally from Cami, because I tried putting it back in and taking it out ruined it. It was pretty unfortunate, but I had to try this thing with some other bearings in it, because it had the same bearing in it for forever, and I can't help myself and change bearings and everything, I've never not changed a bearing in a spinner. So I did this one, I held out the longest, and again, I regret changing it. So if you like your bearing, don't change it, sometimes it's just never going to go back. Don't fix what ain't broke, especially on, bearings and spinners. Next up, most use, which is basically zero use lately, is the stainless steel mini Valkyrie from AlphaBot Industries. This is like an OG spinner. You could get it on Amazon at one point. I got it on the secondary market, made these stainless steel buttons for it. Thought they suited the design of the spinner, pretty good. I don't do much of the milling, grooving pattern on buttons. I think I've done it twice now. Once for myself and sold a copper set. Beside the point. This thing has a Golden Eagle bearing in it. It's like it might be an FC Essentials, like an OG one. It's like all golden stainless steel, if I recall correctly. Like golden plated, titanium nitride probably. Could be PVD, I don't know. But it makes such a great sound, and it spins so fluidly in the spinner that I've had this bearing in here for months now. I have no desire to change it. It's one of the U-groove bearings, so it's not flat on the outside of the race. It's a yo-yo bearing. And so it doesn't sit inside glued spinners all that great. I tried it a couple times, and I was able to push it out rather easy because there's not a lot of holding force. So this being a retention style, I don't know if you saw that whenever I just opened it up here. So let's back over. I gotta get these buttons right. This part screws on and off, so you can easily swap the bearing without glue, and so it holds this U-groove bearing in really well. This being a cheap spinner and having a retention system, the bearing doesn't sit perfectly centered in the body, so I had to make these buttons a couple thousandths different from side to side. So if I were to flip the buttons, it actually wouldn't, it would contact the body, which is kind of funny. It's a great design though, like the weights are out on the end, it's super comfortable. That's a pretty common theme for me with my spinners. It's got to be round and comfy for me to really like it. The torque bar is round and comfy because it's double chamfered and it's round. There are no sharp edges on the torque bar with how it is shaped and double chamfered. It's pretty cool. Just throwing that out there because everything else is round in my collection. All right, on to the Cap Mini Collision. This might be leaving my collection soon. I just don't even care to really have it anymore. I don't pick it up like ever along with this. I even put my modified collision buttons on here, tungsten ones. Let's put the stainless ones back on here. If you're watching this and want to buy either of these, let me know. I'll give you a really good deal on them. Like, I don't know, like $150 for both of them, shipped in the US. They both have 1-drop bearings in them. They're both perfectly balanced. This one I have tumbled, so it's got this dark finish on it. And you can see the buttons are not modified. This one's tungsten. I just don't spin them very much. Like, they're really balanced. This one makes amazing noises, and it's very fast. But it's too edgy for me. It really is. Like, I bought this one and a stainless one of these as a package deal because I just kind of wanted to try one of these again, and it was a good deal. And my wife wanted the stainless steel mini one, but I I had a feeling this would happen. You know, I basically did it just so she would get a Fidget. Like, if she wants a Fidget, I'm going to get her a Fidget. She doesn't like that many, so... yeah, it's just time for them to move on. I don't really like Cap EDC as a brand, so having them in my collection doesn't feel that great. So I'm just kind of over it, you know? That's kind of a bummer because this is a cool little spinner being tungsten, but I just, nope. Over it. Oh, I forgot about this bar spinner. This is the tungsten mega... Oh, sorry, a little indigestion there. This is a tungsten mega pillar. Weighs like 1.36 pounds or something. It's like 620 or 18 grams. Put a 1-drop bearing in it. I spin this a lot. I really do. It's not in my row of bar spinners because it's so heavy that I don't want it to crush into other things, so I have it in the corner of my case right here. It's got its own big four cell slot taken out. Most things either only have 2 or 3 things if it's a bar or a tri spinner. So I mean, I spin it a lot. It's a lot of fun. It gets my hand stronger. I can spin all of my spinners faster. My hand strength is better. The balance on it is really, really good. The finish that I put on it matches it really well. I really like how it started to darken and patina. It's going to start doing it even more through summer. I can't wait. It is very enjoyable to use just because it's so heavy and I'm able to spin it, and I can improve my spin technique using it. It's cool. It's a novelty, not for everyone, but I really like having it. All right, getting on to the tri spinners here. Really starting to wind down. Here's one that is kind of round, kind of not round. It's just round enough and just chamfered in just the right ways that it is comfortable enough for me to keep in my collection. I love this thing. I made these crystallized Zircuti buttons for it. We have it's like a cold fusion or hot fusion bearing in here from Unquiet Hands. Let's take a peek. Been needing to clean this thing for a while. So it has no retainer, it's all balls. Black balls, white ceramic races. Spins very, very freely. If it does get dirty, it kicks dirt out really well. This is a press fit bore for the bearing, and it is among the tightest bores, aside from my Maeve, I think, which this bearing came out of, funny enough. The Maeve that I used to have, I sold it. This bearing handles press fits and press fit spinners really, really well. This spinner, if I put pretty much any hybrid ceramic in here or any tighter full ceramic bearing, it compresses the outer race so much that it doesn't spin freely anymore. It can be the best bearing in the world, and then you cram it in this thing and it just gets crunched up and has no freedom of movement. This bearing allows that for whatever reason, and it is a dang good one. If all of these bearings are actually like this, I need to go order like 20 of these from Tom because it's quite good. It's very consistent side to side, especially for a retainerless bearing. Yeah, I really like the FocusWorks Axis Micro Mini in tungsten. I don't know if I said that. So much so that this is the second one I bought. I gave my first one away to Cammie because she never had one, and I mean, she had to have one. So I bought myself another one and gifted one away. That's how good it is. This is one that I don't think I could bring myself to gift away to somebody if they asked or didn't have one. Cammie, if you're watching, yeah, I don't think I could do it. I'm sorry. So this is a Conceptual Designs Amaryllis in tungsten. It has 2 EDC tungsten triangle buttons that used to look like this. This is an unmodified pair from Osman. Hey bud, I know you're watching. I'll get these modified next week, I promise. James, yours too. Next week, I promise. I got messed up. This week all the friends are coming to town for Blade Show. This is the week I'd planned to do it, and I double booked myself because I'm sorry. So I dished these out, accidentally dished a little too deep and got to the thread bore, so it popped a ruby in. The Amaryllis is just so good. I think of all this stuff in my collection here, I've had this the longest. I maybe have had this stainless torque bar longer by a couple months. I'd actually be really curious. I need to go back and look at that on the dates, because I've said that a lot, that I've had this the longest in past videos. But the stainless torque bar, I think, edges it out. Everything else is younger in my collection for sure. But I'm pretty sure I got this stainless torque bar and a zirconium Amaryllis at the same time before I got the tungsten one. I guess my YouTube timeline could show that too. Like, go back and look at the dates posted. I got like a cap, rose and petal in zirconium and Amaryllis, the torque bar, and something else. I feel like it was 5 spinners, maybe 4. Wish I could remember, shoot. But yeah, doesn't matter, I guess. The Amaryllis is one of the best tri-spinners I think to ever exist. I've tried a number of them. I've still only got 3 tri-spinners in my collection. Let's go ahead and pull out the squid here. And I mean, it's just so dang good. The size, the shape, the ergonomics, the weight placement. I was in love with it for the longest time with these zirconium buttons that I made for it, that I also dished out too deep and was like, I'll put a ruby in them. The Amaryllis is a very high feedback, high noise spinner, even in tungsten, because of its structure, its design. It's got all these cutouts around the bearing, so it really does make a lot of noise. Like the zirconium one is among the loudest spinners I've ever tried. So with a lightweight button, you definitely get a lot of noise out of the Amaryllis, so I am definitely a fan of it on tungsten buttons. When I got the tungsten buttons for it, it was a whole new spinner for me, because I had it with lightweight buttons for at least a year of its ownership, of the time that I had it. I've only had these on there for a couple months now, and it's still just like, I'm literally getting chills spinning this thing. I like it so, look at that, so much. The bearing is just beautifully smooth. This is a freakish full ceramic Type C dark matter, or whatever you want to call it, silicone nitride ceramic bearing, 9-ball ceramic bearing. It just spins so long and freely. I've had people spin it, I know I've said this before, and question that's a full ceramic. They think it's a hybrid ceramic. I'm amazed by this spinner and this bearing combo and button combo. It is just, it's like one of the crown jewels of my collection for sure. Okay, so this is the last spinner here, and then we'll talk about some tops, I think. This is a R&L Rain and Lake EDC tungsten fat squid. I've given it a tumble. It's got another one of those freakishly good full ceramic bearings in it. It's very, very comfy. Good speeds, good grip, unique buttons, beautiful spinner. Looks like an ancient alien artifact. All things I've said before, but I really do. I love this thing almost as much as the Amaryllis. Oh, got a beard hair falling on my Amaryllis over here. It used to be flamed black, but it started wearing off on the points of the button. So I tumbled it in the same media that these buttons and weights were tumbled in. Same thing that this was tumbled in. Same thing this was tumbled in. It's my really fine media. Oh yeah, this too. And it gave it a beautiful, drippy, shiny kind of luster to it, and it's starting to darken up a little bit. It's been over a month now, I think, since I last did that. In doing so, I had to put a new bearing in it. These new bearings that I got from HXHV. There were a couple of them that are just absolute winners, and this is one of them. It just spins so fluidly. It feels like a full ceramic, not like the Amaryllis here. It kind of tricks you. But it's still very long spinning, very fluid. And it fixed the slight imbalance that it had, whether it was the bearing swap or the tumbling. This thing used to not pass the lift test. Pretty sure it does now. Bad pickup, or are we just rotating a little? Yeah, bad pickup. I mean, it's just, look how easy I'm just gonna barely spin that button. Look at that bearing. Like, you kidding me? It's insane. Very, very good 9-ball full ceramic. I've only got 2 spinners with 9-ball full ceramics right now. I used to have one in my edamame, I had one in here. I never tried one in here. I've got a lot of 1-drops and things right now. Should have talked about that. 1-drop, Go Fast, FC Essentials HC4, 1-drop, Golden Eagle, Dark Matter 9-ball ceramic, retainerless, whatever, 9-ball full ceramic. So I mean, yeah. I guess that's the Fidgets right now. This has a 1-drop too, but we're gonna change that after the video. I gotta leave all this out for, I guess, a thumbnail, right? I do want to show I've got a trick shot top here, made by my friend Mark, my best friend Mark. It's a Spirograph Damascus. This is a thing that I've had for a while. He made this for me years and years ago. It's been, shoot, I don't know, 5 years? At least 6 years? It's been a long time since Mark has made tops. So I was feeling inspired the other day. I have been quite a bit with the trick shot tops. And I was like, I'm gonna make some tungsten and Ultim ones. So I kind of screwed myself here and dirtying up the table when I can't really show you how these things work. So I think I'm going to make a video just on trick shot tops, because I'm probably gonna make another one today also once I get going on the lathe. So these are Ultim in the middle and have tungsten discs. And trick shot tops are really cool. They don't spin quite like normal tops. They have a really dramatic ending. They like have a lot of precession. And when they're spinning, you can flick them in the stem and they jump. And they will try to fall over and then they rewrite themselves as long as they're still spinning fast enough. You know, like a standard top like this won't do that. Not at all. Like if you bump it on the top, it's probably going to spin out and catch an edge and fall over. It's not going to like tumble and rewrite itself like these do. It's a pretty cool little physics thing. So yeah, I'm gonna make some more of these guys. They're pretty fun to make, pretty unique. Ultim is such a weird material. I think you hear that, right? And it like flexes a lot whenever I'm turning it on the lathe. Like you can literally see it moving sometimes. Pretty cool. So there's gonna be some more of those. But yeah, I think I'll do an individual video on just trick shot tops. Maybe I'll move the camera like down, looking out across the table so you can see them, you know, spinning on a lens surface, and maybe you see them jumping around, because it's kind of hard to see from a top down angle. Maybe I can move it like more to like head height and it can be more of like a POV kind of video, you know what I mean? So yeah, guess that'll be it for this June video. I don't really know how to, I didn't rank them or anything. I just sat here and talked about my collection, I guess. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.